Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Please share this out so we can get as many people on as we possibly can. It's a little bit of a delay. Please share out. Please share out so we can get as many people on as we can. We're going to give everybody a couple of minutes to join in. I hope everybody's doing good today. It's definitely a delay in the deliverance. How you doing? How you doing out there? Hey guys, we still gonna let a couple more people come on. I don't want to start because it's lots of information. So I want to try to get as many people on as we can. So bear with us. Be patient a little bit with us. Hey, 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 as you come into the polls, make sure that you share. Hey, B. Michelle. I hope you guys are excited. They finally approved more money. Now we need to figure out how we get it. Okay, so at 11:10, I'm going to start. It's 11:09. Thank you guys for joining us. What we're going to be talking about today is the stimulus package that was approved yesterday, the additional resources that's being put in the economy to help small businesses and how to get those funds to the small business owner and what you need to do to make sure that you're in line. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Beatrix Davis. I am with the Legacy Firm. I do money. I sell money. Here in San Antonio, everybody knows me as the Money Lady. Um, I have been supporting and helping a new group that's developing in San Antonio called BETA, Black Entrepreneurs Development. And we've been trying to disseminate as much information as possible while we deal with this pandemic and getting businesses the support and efforts that they need. So originally, when I did the first live, we talked about the initial money that was put out. And so I want to clear up some misunderstandings, help you understand the process, and then give you a little bit of information of how all of this has been transitioning and how it relates and affect you as business owners. I have B. Michelle on the call, so she's going to be sending me your questions. Please hold your questions until I ask for them. That way, I don't have to keep looking down to read them, and I can get the initial message out. So originally, when Congress went to the table to create a stimulus package, they put $2.2 trillion into the economy. What people fail to understand and what the federal government failed to understand is the amount of devastation that was out there in the economy and how they would get these funds out, having the workforce, understanding the lending base, where to send everyone. So, just for educational purposes, the Small Business Development Administration is not a lender. They are a guarantor. They guarantee banks and other lending facilities who actually has the money. Um, they guarantee that if the business owner, the recipient, gains a loan and defaults on the loan, then the SBA would pay the bank back so much percentage of that loan. Excuse me. So that in itself was a big hiccup in the system. And let me explain to you why. Because when you qualify for a small business development loan, you also have to qualify for the bank's requirements. So you have the federal government requirements and then you have the bank requirements. When they put the $2.2 trillion into the economy, what the federal government was asking and expecting the lending facilities, the bank, to do was fund these loans without their criteria, their requirements. And their criteria and their requirements are based off of your credit history and based off of your ability to collateralize a loan at a certain loan amount and your ability to pay the loan back. When the first $2.2 trillion was put into the economy, it was only for banks that are registered with the Federal Depository. So non-depository lending facilities, which are third parties, which is something that I do, were not a part of the process. So people have to really understand and gauge that. The other thing that was not taken into consideration when the stimulus package was put out was if a bank has a certain amount of debt on their books, they do not meet the federal depository requirements. By them not meeting the federal depository requirements, meaning they have too much debt on their books, their facility can be shut down by the federal government. There was no amendment, no law that covered these banks. So when the money was approved on Congress floor and the Senate floor, they hadn't taken into consideration the other side. So banks pushed back and they stated that they didn't want to be liable for this type of risk. Risk meaning them possibly getting loans that were defaulted and eventually closing. I hope that makes sense because you have to understand the financial side of the system in order to understand why it's such a big halt and the confusion. So the U.S. Treasury stepped in, which is the Federal Depository, and guaranteed to back and remove that stipulation from banks. So that was huge. Okay. However, we live in the real world. Even though banks were not required for receivers or lender people who want loans to meet credit criteria, we're realists. There's always going to be some kind of bias, and there was bias. So the backlog of trying to deal with an antiquated system, the backlog of not understanding the resources, the backlog of people not knowing how to process this paperwork stopped the money. And then when the money was actually released, it went flying and it was gone. I think it was released on a Monday. It was gone by Thursday. Now, how does that affect us as Black business owners, as small business owners? Well, one of the biggest hindrance is banks don't know how to deal with small businesses and entrepreneurs. They're not creative enough to be able to manage the funds. And yes, even though it's a stimulus package, they still needed to understand how to do that and to take the bias off the table. So when they came back to the table and they added this additional $484 billion into the care package, there is money for hospitals and money that's supposed to go to businesses like you and me. Okay. But there was still a hiccup. We needed what's known as fintech lenders. Fintech lenders, like here in San Antonio, Lift Fund, Cabbage Fund, Lender Source, Opportunity Loan Fund, those type of lenders at the table to be able to disseminate and handle and manage this money. Those people were literally just approved within the last 4 to 5 days. They were literally just approved within the last 4 or 5 days. Now, on your side as business owners, if you've ever heard me speak, if you've ever heard me, Michelle, speak, we always talk about your back office. We always talk about your paperwork being in place. Well, that's been one of the biggest hangups for getting approved. The money is available to independent contractors, 1099 employees, sole proprietors, beauticians, barbers. All the money is, you are eligible for it. You are eligible for it. However, these are the things that has to make sense. The portion of the money that was approved was for the paycheck program, the PPP. Meaning, if you are a business owner and you don't pay yourself, you're not considered to have lost wages. If you're a business owner, you don't have your back office set up, you're not incorporated, you don't have a DBA, you don't file a tax, a 1040 with a Schedule C, there is no way for them to prove that you lost wages. So paperwork wasn't ready. A lot of minority businesses, unfortunately, was not ready to be eligible for the fund. And the organizations that you are used to helping you with this was so overburdened that they couldn't handhold like, unfortunately, we're used to. Does that make sense? Let me open up and ask questions for that part. Does that make sense? Any questions? Any questions at all? Okay. So one of the lenders that I've worked with in the past and that is also doing small business loans is called Cabbage.com. Cabbage, Kabbage, Cabbage. They're able to do from $0 to $2 million. That's where you come in, $0 to $2 million. Okay. Now, listen to me carefully. There's two types of funding that's available. There is the EIDL, which was in the original packet. That's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And then the PPP, which is the paycheck program that has the grant attached to it. Two different types of money in the stimulus package. The money that has just been approved is a part of the PPP. There is still money in the EIDL. We'll talk about that next. Okay, Mel's question is yes, if we file the 1040 with the Schedule C, how do we apply? I'm going to give you some lenders right now. So, cabbage funding is one of the sources that's just been approved. www.kabbage.com. Cabbage funding. They are a fintech funder. They can approve loans from 0 to 2 million. Now, what can you use this money for? You can use this money to bring your employees back to work. You can use this money to replace your lost wages. You can use this money to pay your rent if you lease an office space. You can use this money to pay your utilities during the time of the economic disaster. What part of this money is a part of the grant? Well, if you use this money to pay your employees and yourself The first 8 weeks is eligible for a grant. You have to be able to prove that. The first 8 weeks is eligible for the grant. That's your payroll, that's your rent. All of that is eligible for to be turned over to a grant. Okay? Understand, clearly understand that you can be approved up to 250% of your previous year monthly revenue, monthly cost. I'm going to repeat that. You can be approved. So let's say 2019 February, your payroll, your rent, your utilities came up to $10,000. You can be approved that times 250%. That's the maximum you'll get approved for. So, the information that you need a borrower certification by the SBA. So, you need to do that initial application on the SBA website. Any payroll filings, Form 1099, miscellaneous report. That's what you file to the IRS. That's your stated income, your payroll, and your unemployment insurance filings. You need the application. And then they're going to ask you to sign a good faith certification. These loans do not have to be collateralized, meaning if you get 125,000, 250,000, you do not have to have property or receivables or anything like that attached to it. Another thing, because they're doing sole proprietors, 1099, independent contractors, small businesses with employees under 500, you do not have to give a personal guarantee. So this will not affect your personal credit. But you do need to be able to prove and show the ability to repay the loan. Questions. I'm going to stop right there and take questions. Any questions? Now let's say I don't see any questions. Okay, so let's say you have the PPP, the payment payroll payment program, and you filled out for the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Let's say you have two. You cannot combine the two, but you can qualify for the two. You show ability. This is another question from Mail. How do we show ability to repay? You show ability to repay by your previous year's revenue generated. So you don't have to be profitable, but you do have to show that you're able to generate revenue. So you can qualify for both loans. Both loans you can qualify for. Now, I personally am a serial entrepreneur. I have a couple of different things that I do besides lending and brokering, consulting, and things like that. I cannot apply to a fintech type of company with all of my different businesses. So remember that. If you are a small business owner and you have multiple businesses and each one is affected by the pandemic, my recommendation and suggestion to you is to seek out your bank or your credit union. And let me quantify that. You need to verify that your bank or credit union is a SBA qualified lender. And this is the time, guys, where you really need to leverage your relationships with people in the financial industry and hold them accountable, especially if their missions and visions is to support the community that they're in. This is your opportunity to challenge them on that. Okay. Um, because this is a part of the STEM, it's so much information, so I'm trying to give it to you strategically to where it makes sense. Because this is a stimulus package due to the pandemic, the SBA and the federal government has waived all origination fees. So you should not be charged any application or origination fees when you apply for these loans. If you decide to hire someone to do your application to assist you in getting approved, that's on you, because there's several free resources out there. You may have to wait in line, but there's several free resources out there. The lender is not charging you, the federal government's not charging you. Do your due diligence, do your research. SCORE, Small Business Development Centers, Beta, we can help with some questions. Just don't over inundate us with them. And again, it's still the same thing. Funds are limited, so it's on a first come, first served basis. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I am going to make this statement. A lot of small businesses do LLCs. And when they do LLCs, they file their 1040, but they don't file the Schedule C. Understand, when you're applying for the PPP loan, not the EID loan, you have to prove that you pay yourself. That's the whole reason why they're emphasizing the Schedule C on your 1040. You can file your personal taxes. You just need to show that you actually pay yourself. TurboTax right now is doing a great job in helping individuals correct their taxes so that they can be eligible for these loans. But again, resources are limited. Lenders are over inundated. The government waited until the last minute to allow third party lenders to the table. The money was just approved yesterday, but it may not be released until last week. So you have to get your stuff now. You need to get your applications now. You need to reach out to your tax person now. You need to go on TurboTax now. You need to have your articles of incorporation. You need to have all of these things with you when you make your application. Any questions on that? Okay, so one of the good things that I can do, and partnering with Beta, I now can process small business loans for the PPP program. However, I can only process loans 200,000 up to 10 million. So 0 to 199,000, I am not approved to process those loans. 200,000 to 10 million, I can process your loan. And there will be a link put on Beta's page for you to reach out to me for me to assist you. Why is this important? How does this help you? Because now you have an experienced person in the lending industry to make sure that your loan is put into the upfront people and a better chance of getting it approved. Of course, I can't guarantee anything. However, I can assist you, but it's 200,000 to 10 million. For items under that, I'm going to list several lenders that I've worked with in the past who are fintech lenders, micro lenders, where you can reach out to them and do your application. You still need to understand that there's an economic injury disaster relief loan and there's a payroll payment protection, which is the PPP. There's two different types of loans. If a business owner has not filed their taxes for 2018 yet, will they be eligible for the loan program asking for a friend? Yes, 2019. 2019, as long as you filed those and we can do income statements, you are eligible. Any questions? I know that was a lot of information. Um, It's a lot going on. It's a lot of misinformation out there. So we want to try to give you the most accurate, up-to-date information as I get it. You have to understand that we're dealing with the federal government. Things are moving very, very slow. They are addressing problems as problems come up. So one of the questions that I always get is how much of the PPP can be forgiven? So anything that's associated with payroll costs, interest on the mortgage of the building where you operate your business, not your residence, rent or lease payments, payments to the utilities. This utilities cover electricity, gas, water, transportation, telephone, internet access. All of that's covered and can be forgiven if it's used for those. Even in restaurants where their waitresses, bartenders make what, 230 an hour, and they basically live off of tips. You can average out what your employees' tips are. That can be included. But owners, understand, you have to show that you paid this money to your employee. You have to show that you paid this money to your employee. That's very, very important. You can't just state it. And I need everyone to understand that this money is government money from taxpayers. So when it comes to the grant side or being forgiven side, you still have to be able to document what you're doing. When you're ready to apply for the forgiveness part of the loan, you submit that to your lender, and then they'll follow guidelines and show you how much would be forgiven. The loan rate on PPP loans is 1%. On EID loans, economic injury disaster loans, is 3.25. Any questions? Just making sure that I gave you guys um, as much information as possible. Any questions? So, as of date from the original package, the SBA has guaranteed 26,919 loans for a total amount of $5.5 million. In the state of Texas, we have 1,243 loans that have been approved in the amount of $263,000 and that's under the economic injury disaster loans. Those are numbers directly from the SBA. Yes, if you, Brian, if you filed any applications last time, do you need to file again? Yes, you do. I strongly suggest if you filed before and you have not been assigned to a lender, when they was asking everyone to go to the SBA website and fill out the application, that system crashed. For those of you who do not know, that system crashed. So we are not confident and or sure whose applications are still in the system. So that's why I'm going to give you lenders to apply to directly. If you are applying from 0 to 199,000, there will be lenders listed there. 200,000 to 10 million, I can support you. And you also can go through and find, if you have a relationship with another bank, another community development, a credit union, you just want to make sure that they've been approved by the SBA, because a lot of people had to go back through approval, which also hindered and halted where the money went. And it's on a first come, first served basis. Unfortunately, we have to react with what we have. Any other questions? Hey, Annette Bryant. Hey, Steve. Any questions? Darren, Kelly. This is the perfect time to get all of your questions answered. No question is too small. We want to make sure that we get our paperwork in, that we're using the resources out there, that we're getting the proper information so that for once our community is fully serviced. And right now, there's a lot of things going on and a lot of information going on where our businesses are not seeing the funding. So we want to address that. Vita's here to support you and help you address that. But you guys, you have to let us know what you need. You can inbox on the Facebook. You can reach out to B. Michelle. She's really, really good at facilitating and getting to me. I again will put links on the Beta page to help you do these Q&As. I'm not sure what more we can do to help, but we're here, we're available. We are trying to stay as much engaged and into the know as possible. The funding again was just released yesterday, so the money will be in the lender's hands by next week. So I strongly suggest everyone get with their tax people, get with me, myself, business consultant, whatever you need to make sure that your paperwork is clear. Again, just to repeat, I will be putting my information on Beta page, Brian. I'm going to put it on Beta's page, and you'll be able to get directly to me. Lenders from 0 to 199,000. I'm going to list some out that I have relationships with. The reason why I'm listing those is because I know that they will not have a biased sentiment, and you will be more likely to get the support and the funding you need. And then if it's 200,000 or more, up to 10 million, I can help you with the PPP, not the EIDL, economic injury disaster loan. You still need to go through the SBA and the banks. Fintechs can only do the paycheck protection program. Okay, so I'm not getting any other questions. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a better understanding. This video will be posted on the page. And if you find that you have questions later, just find this recording, post it on there. We will follow up with you. Um, or post your question on the page and someone for Beta. If I don't see it, they'll get it to me. Again, I am a board member of Beta, so that's how you have direct access to me. And let's just not be left behind, guys. Let's get on top of this, figure out what we need to do, get those applications in, and get our share of the pie. We're at the second half of the stimulus package. This is the second half. The other resources are gone. This is the second half. Mel, oh, you're very welcome. And give me a call if you need my help. You have my direct number. Please do me a huge favor. Please do your community a huge favor. Please do fellow entrepreneurs a huge favor. If they were not on this call and you saw value in this call, please, please, please share this post with them so that they can get their questions answered, and let them know that they can reach out to Beta so that we can help them. There is another live on Friday. I believe that's going to be a SBA rep, a bank, um, and a couple of other people. So, like I said, we're trying our best to give you guys as much information as possible to keep you abreast of what's going on, to make sure the money is getting in our hands. We're excited that I've been approved to process loans. So use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage. Share it with your friends. 200,000 to $10 million, I can personally do. And if there's nothing else, thank you guys so much. Have a great day.